beyond this, beyond the wall, beyond the confines of Embarcadero Hall. Take it out onto campus. Remember the message that we're trying to teach one another tonight, which is one of inclusiveness, tolerance, diversity, listening to each other's opinions, and being there for one another, because there's a lot we can learn from each other. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rabbi. So our next speaker is Professor George Lipschitz. He's a professor here at UCSB in the Black Studies Department and author of, this is like one of my favorite books, y'all, so you gotta read it, The Possessive Investment in Whiteness and Class and Culture in Cold War America. Lipschitz is a leading scholar in social movements, the politics of popular culture, and recipient of the 2010 UCSB Distinguished Teaching Award.
I brought some notes because I thought there might be a test later. Right. We're here tonight because of an effort to demonize, isolate, and shame our Muslim brothers and sisters. And we're here to say we're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let that happen because our eyes and ears have been opened and we see what's happening in this society, which seems to be unraveling in so many ways. What happens to any of us now will happen to all of us soon. We are in a society whose environment is imperiled like never before, whose educational system is being systematically dismantled, whose economy has been destroyed by the predatory greed of a few plutocrats, whose empire is involved in wars in 3 places. And what are we given as a solution to this? We're told to demonize and fear other human beings, and we're told to force Muslims to defend their right to exist instead of working to solve these problems, which are of overwhelming importance. And I think that our dean here tonight says that we know that the same people, the same way of thinking that leads the chair of the House Homeland Security Committee to say the problem in America is that there are too many mosques, the same thing that leads a Kansas legislator to say that immigrants should be shot down like wild pigs, the same thing that leads the state of Arizona to pass a bill on the one hand mandating racial profiling of Latinos and on the other hand outlawing the teaching of ethnic studies, that this is all part of a consistent attempt to divert our attention from the real work we have to do. People who can't solve problems want to find scapegoats. They want to find enemies. Our goal is to find solutions, to work on these problems, to do the important and serious work that needs to be done. In our society, people who control nothing are blamed for everything. And the people who control everything are blamed for nothing. If David Horowitz could help us fix the problems that we're interested in, of course we would welcome a dialogue with him. But he wants to fix it so we don't talk about those problems, so that we get diverted into an orgy of recreational hate, a kind of sadism in search of a story. We're here tonight because we're showing something different. The late great James Baldwin used to say, hate has always been more popular than love. Love has never really been a popular emotion. But the world is held together by the love of a frighteningly small group of people. When we look around the room tonight, we see that that group of people is larger than we thought. And our goal is to keep it on and pass it on. Thank you.
Is the Director for Media of UCSB's Associated Students. She has been responsible for managing KCSB for 17 years and has taught our supervised youth radio projects for 12 years. She has been the treasurer of the World Association of Community Radio Broadcasters, a global non-governmental organization which advocates for community media and communication rights from the grassroots to global policy levels. In the latter capacity, she represented community media at the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women, the United Nations World Summit on the Information Society, the People's Summit of the Americas, and 3 World Social Forums. Without further ado, I introduce to you Elizabeth Robinson.
I don't know who they've been talking to, but they offered to show me that introduction. I said, whatever you did, that was very nice because it gets to a couple of the things that I wanted to get to tonight, which is about my commitment to human rights, to freedom of expression, to education, to radio, a not dying medium. But I also want to get to a couple of other things. I have to do some confessions and say I'm one of those godless people, even though my parents never wanted me to be. I don't know how God feels about you clapping for these things. Careful. I am a Semite. I'm an Arab Semite. I have a daughter who's married to a Jew. I'm married to a black man. And I say these things, you betcha, Cedric James Robinson. And my only reference to that guy that's speaking over across the street will be to say that he has written a book that you may know about called Black Marxism, and for which actually another professor on this campus, Otis Madison, was conflated with Cedric. So they made Horowitz's list of most dangerous people. Only they didn't know who was who. Okay? And they presumed that Cedric is a Marxism, and when he was teaching courses on anarchism, people assumed he was an anarchist, and so on and so forth. What he does is he teaches. I just want to say a couple of things about universities and about freedom of expression. And the first one about universities is to say that this space, well, not this particular one, but probably especially this one at some point, was not made for most of the people in this room. I went back and found the original charter once of the university, which said that it was a place that was supposed to be open to all men of good character. And good character didn't include a whole bunch of people that are at this university right now. Didn't include any women either, but we can forgive them that, saying, well, maybe they just hadn't caught up, or they were men of their times. But that is still the case, and it has been the case historically for a very long time. When Cedric was a rare black graduate student at Stanford University, one of his professors, who was a Jew, told him that he had been blackballed at, I'm not positive it was Stanford anymore, I forget things, but Jews were not invited into the academy because they talked with their hands, okay? Other people are still not accepted into this university, even though they may have spaces as students, they may have spaces as faculty. They are required to go into classrooms sometimes where someone, a professor, will say, well, you know, the only rich black people are entertainers and athletes. Or, you know, things substantially as ignorant as the guy across the street is telling us. So universities are not safe places for most of us, and if we feel like they are, we need to check ourselves. Okay? You got to be careful here, and you got to fight for what you want. And as George said earlier, and everyone else has said so far, is we have to protect one another. We have to work with one another. Regarding freedom of expression, it's something I've worked for, as I said, for a very long time, and that I believe in. I believe in hate speech. I mean, I don't believe